Let's make this episode a special one by just being ourselves, loving ourselves just the way we are. Go check out The View on yesterday's, on November 26th. Let's go. Let's check them out, see what they got to say. They're talking about Trump and January 26th.
So let's start by telling you what happened yesterday, because yesterday Special Counsel Jack Smith had to move to dismiss the January 6th stuff in classified documents cases. He still insists that he built a strong case on both fronts, but cites that the DOJ rule says that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted.
Good job.
Now, you know who continues to deny all charges. And the dismissal comes shy of about 4 years since the Capitol insurrection. So after all that time and money, are we going to get a rebate?
No rebate for you, Whoopi.
We're not getting any money back? Okay, well.
Nothing.
What do you think of it?
It kind of shows you there's no such thing as karma, doesn't it? I mean, it's like the Easter Bunny and affordable housing. It doesn't exist.
I know you didn't believe in the Easter Bunny when you're talking about Joe Rogan believing in you're talking about Joe Rogan believing in dragons. So I know you don't believe in the Easter Bunny.
I mean, I feel like eventually I think we will get him out. But it's going to take a while. And let's hope that there's not too much damage that he does. It's so, if you think about what happened in the past, how long is it since Election Day?
It's in about 2-3. It's been about 3 weeks.
About 2 years.
It feels like a decade, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that Kamala Harris says to American people, I'm going to help you buy a house. That did not resonate as much as they're eating cats and dogs in Ohio. I mean,
That didn't resonate. The cats and dogs. The buy me a house did not resonate. I need the price of groceries to go down.
It's weird, isn't it? We're in a weird sort of state right now. But I feel like I also think, even though everybody's been talking about how awful these picks are for the cabinet, I feel like some of the Republicans in Congress are going to have to step up, especially when you have somebody like Robert Kennedy Jr. You sent me a thing the other day that said that dengue fever is on the rise. Okay? I don't think these Republicans want to get dengue fever. I don't think that they want to get COVID. I don't think that they want their kids to not get the polio shot. So when it comes right down to them, maybe they will step up because it will affect them.
Surprisingly, you're
I think she's supposed to be a comedian, but she's very not funny. And Sunny, let's go with this. I think it's Sunny next. I don't know.
kind of making the point I was going to at the end there. So January 6th was disqualifying for me, for Donald Trump. I stand by everything I said about the events of that day and that I said in the 4 years since. I don't think that somebody who engaged that way is somebody who should be in office.
Yeah.
But
Engage in what way?
I did see over the last 4 years, but really the last 2 years leading up to the election, so many voters, it was just in the rearview mirror. It wasn't that they were comfortable with it. They didn't like it. A lot of people who vote for Trump don't even like Donald Trump and the way he behaves. But what they kept saying is the status quo is just unsustainable. It kept going back to the cost of living, which Hakeem Jeffries said when he was on our show was the #1 driving factor in the election. And there was this ABC News poll, and I know we don't love the polls, but it was right before Election Day saying that only 26% of Americans liked the direction the country was going. Now, I get you could say, okay, but do you think Trump is the answer? Who is the answer? But when people feel like in my day-to-day life, I struggle to make ends
Kamala was not the answer. She was the same.
meet. It is too hard. I just can't get by. They're going to vote for what they see as change. And the point where I agree with you is that I don't think most people who voted for Trump were like, well, I'm off to vote for mass deportations and RFK running HHS. Even though he said he was going to do those things, it was the cost of living is too damn high and I just need a break.
Well, we knew this was going to come, the dismissal of this, so it's not surprising at all. This one hits for me because the #1 thing that bothered me and was not only, it was disqualifying before that, but I feel like when you talk about January 6th and denying election results, a lot of people can get on board with that sentiment from both sides and say, maybe they don't in public, but they do say that wasn't okay. This was huge for me. And I look back and it's very personal. I was a government major all the way through college. I remember going to DC the first time, and the images, although I'm not comparing this to the terrorist attack on 9/11, anyone that watches
Then don't bring up the terrorist attack on 9/11.
those clips can go back to that day and they have a visceral response. When I see the videos of January 6th, it is just like it happened yesterday for me. It is jarring. I can't believe it was the United States. There's 1,000 things I can't believe. So on that day, there was universal outrage. There were some leading Republicans, including Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, that came out and said, this is bad. Strangely, it was so convoluted from that point on, though, because the statistics of how many Republicans said January 6th was bad went from was okay. 21% approved of January 6th. By 2024, 30% approved. Wow. In 2021, 29% of the voters said that they're
standing up for what's right. If you feel the election was a fraud, stand up for what you believe.
There was fraud in the election, or that it was not legitimate. In 2023, 36 believed. It's strange how it was carried through, even with January 6th and the committee and all the evidence, that it was somehow weaponized by the right to become it's a Tuesday. So the irony for me is that this is the democracy and election that Trump had tried to subvert, the very democracy that is allowing him to get away with it. By being voted back in office.
And,
listen, that
Okay, here go ugly suit. This is kind of ugly like the one she had on the other day. She had on aluminum foil from the UFO or NASA, or maybe Elon Musk gave it to her.
That was always the plan. I firmly believe that the reason that he was running again to be president was partially because he wants to sort of milk money out of the government, which is what he did the first time. He was running to stay out of jail. That's right. what he was doing.
Now she lying again, talking about Trump running for president to stay out of jail. Who runs for the president to stay out of jail? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Being honest, okay?
And it worked.
But let me say, the other thing I want to say is, a lot of people are blaming Merrick Garland and saying, why did he take so long? And they're blaming the Department of Justice. Why did they take so long? As an alum of the Department of Justice, I want to make it clear that these cases generally take between 2 and 4 years to prosecute. I know that sounds crazy, but think about how many witnesses, including yourself, who testified in front of that House committee, 1,000. Yeah. When you are a prosecutor like Jack Smith and receive that case, you now have to re-interview those witnesses. You're not going to just take the paperwork and say, okay, Alyssa said this, so that's fine. You've got to do the work yourself. So between the House committee report being released, that was in 2022, they were gearing up against all of this pressure from the other side, appeals, motions,
so what can Jack
legal
Smith
practice.
do now?
Now what he has done is he's withdrawn the cases. The judge has said they are withdrawn without prejudice. What that means is you can bring them again. But the problem is, because he's the sitting president, you can't continue the prosecution, and the statute of limitations will likely run out when he's done.
I hate to be a kid right here, but
So he did what he wanted to do, but the last final point I'll make, I know that most people are saying, well, this was a kitchen table issue. This was about the cost of eggs. Donald Trump never talked about the cost of eggs.
Pause.
We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
Okay. So I just want to show that her lying through her teeth. She probably will have to come back up and give another legal note. We're going to call her a legal note, Sonny.
He tried to commit a sex act on a microphone. He talked about, pets being eaten.
Yeah.
But when the exit polls were taken, the 92% of black women that voted for the vice president said that the number one issue for them was January 6th and the fall of
Hold on.
democracy.
I hate stopping the video so much, but that's another lie straight out of her teeth. No black woman out of those, I think she said 97% or whatever percent it was, 0% of them were concerned about January 6th. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm black and I know black people, and I talk to black people. No one talks about January the 6th as far as why they're voting for Kamala. They're voting for Kamala because she's a woman and because they are black. And Kamala is not black, by the way.
Yeah.
So there were some voters that felt that that was very, very important.
And if I could respond, because
The most important thing is family. AAA shares the same family values. For over
I do think that's a valid point. Donald Trump was never on message this election. We talked about it constantly, but he still won because he had ads that were on message, that were being blasted all over TV. So people were still hearing it. Here's how he's going to bring down the cost of living. Here's what he's going to do for you. So we're all thinking like,
Okay, so she just said that you're lying, Sonny.
oh, he's talking about cats and dogs and crazy stuff. But a lot of voters who aren't tuning into the day-to-day news are seeing these targeted ads that are reaching them where they are.
Fear-mongering ads about trans people.
and-
But then some are,
a lot of
the majority of his were about the
Alyssa, a
economy.
lot of scapegoating, and every autocrat throughout history has found a scapegoat, and that's what he did.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around that. That is true. I don't have anything to say about it.
The biggest hater of them all.
You know,
Grandma hater.
because I'm not going to go back and say, oh, we should have, they should have, if you should have, would have, could have. It didn't happen.
It's over.
What
You
I'm
lost.
waiting for now is I want to see all this heat around, oh, you want to talk about the police who are policing. Because y'all never talked about that before. You didn't mention that. You kept saying, oh, this person marched here or this person did this. There was a lot of hazarai about a lot of stuff. That
Hazarai. Another word that I have to look up. The View has some very interesting words.
really didn't have anything to do with what I was interested in. I voted
I looked up the eclectic with anger.
for everyone else because I thought we were all wanted peace for our brothers and sisters
And a democracy.
in this joint.
We do.
So, you know, other people didn't vote for that. So now
Yes, we did.
all I can do is wait and see what he does, and that will inform what I do. But I know, Eddie.
Okay. That is the beautiful ladies of The View. I don't want to get a strike against them, for them. Beautiful ladies of The View, November 26th. Like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Like always, love yourself. Treat yourself. Don't beat yourself. Love yourself. Holla.